My name is Rowan Ellison, 34 years old. I was raised to believe that family sticks together no matter what, that blood meant loyalty and holidays were sacred. My parents drilled that into us from the moment we were old enough to sit at the kids' table without falling off the plastic chairs. So when they turned around and decided that my daughter, Ava, and I didn't count anymore, something in me cracked. Cleanly, quietly, and so deeply, I knew we'd never go back to the way things were. They never said it to my face. Honesty requires courage, and my parents always preferred the convenience of silence. Instead, I found out the way people find out everything now, accidentally, by screenshot. My cousin Lisa sent me a message out of the blue. Can you believe your mom's going full no kids this year? Attached was a forwarded screenshot from the family group chat. I used to be in that chat. I didn't even realize I wasn't anymore. Mom's message sat at the top of the thread like a commandment carved into digital stone. Christmas will be adults only this year. Too much chaos with kids. Let's keep it simple and peaceful. I read it once, twice, a third time. My name wasn't there, neither was Ava's. Every adult sibling, every cousin, their spouses, even the ones who lived across the country and never bothered showing up, they were all included. All of their kids, too. Suddenly, their toddlers, screamers, and sticky-fingered preschoolers weren't chaos. Just mine. A dull ache spread across my chest. I waited a full day before texting my mom. I wanted to give her the chance to explain, to walk it back, to say it was all a miscommunication. But when her reply came, it was as polished and emotionless as a stone. It's not personal, Rowan. We just need a calmer Christmas this year. You and Ava are always welcome after the holidays. Maybe January, once things settle down. Hope you understand. Love you. Not personal, except it was, because it was just us. That line, hope you understand, sat in my chest like a rock. What exactly was I supposed to understand? That my daughter, who still believed in Santa and checked the sky for reindeer, was now considered a disruption? That the child they used to brag about was suddenly an inconvenience? I didn't answer, not then. I knew if I did, I'd say something I couldn't take back. That night, after putting Ava in the bath, I opened Instagram to distract myself. Just a mindless scroll. The first photo that popped up was from Lisa. The cousins in matching flannel pajamas, their twins holding candy canes, the caption reading, "Cabin Christmas begins." I froze. The next post was from my brother's wife, their toddler knocking ornaments off a tree. Then I saw it, the picture that hollowed me out. A long dinner table set for 12, red and gold decorations, tiny stockings with names I knew. Even the neighbor's baby had one. Except Ava, except me. I recognized the cabin instantly, the one up north we used to cram into when I was a kid, the one we still talk about as if nostalgia can fix the things that have since fallen apart. The cabin we weren't doing this year because it was too expensive. That lie stung more sharply than the exclusion. After tucking Ava into bed, I lay awake listening to her tiny breaths and realized with a clarity that tasted bitter. They didn't forget us. They removed us. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. I couldn't shake the gnawing feeling in my stomach. I dressed, drove to my parents' house, and let myself in with the spare key they never bothered to take back. The house was quiet, warm, staged, like a place pretending to be hospitable. Strings of white lights flickered in the kitchen. Mugs hung neatly from hooks. A faint cinnamon candle masked the emptiness. And then I saw it. A leather-bound travel organizer sitting on the counter. It looked expensive, the kind of thing you buy when you want your vacation to feel important. I opened it. Inside was a printed itinerary. Spa treatments, wine tastings, holiday brunch with a private chef. 12 adults, fully prepaid. Every single name from the cabin photos, except ours. My throat tightened. The world around me felt too neat, too staged, too curated for people who'd just cut me and Ava out like unwanted background noise. I didn't touch anything else. I just took a picture of the itinerary's first page and texted it to my dad. Canceling this now. That was it. No explanation. No anger. Then I left. I made Ava pancakes. Tried to push away the weight sitting behind my ribs. But something colder was settling inside me. Not sadness. Not shock. Something quiet and resolute. 2 hours later, someone pounded on my front door. Fast and urgent, like the world was ending. I peeked outside. Dad. Red-faced. Breathless. Phone clutched in his hand like a lifeline. I opened the door. He didn't ask how I was. Didn't ask about Ava. You didn't actually cancel it, did you? He demanded. Not we're sorry, not we messed up, not come with us. His first concern, the only concern, was the trip, their perfect curated Christmas retreat. I said nothing at first, letting silence carve a line between us. I didn't cancel anything yet, I finally said, but I can. Dad blinked, thrown off. Your mother didn't mean to hurt anyone. She just wanted a quiet year. Funny, I said, since every single person with children is there. Except me, except Ava. He froze. His eyes flickered, a tiny tell. I pressed. Why were their kids invited but not mine? He looked down, and that was my answer. I didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't give him the emotional spectacle he was bracing for. I'm not canceling anything, I said flatly. You can have your perfect grown-up Christmas, but don't pretend you didn't deliberately exclude us. You made a choice. Now you can live with it. He opened his mouth to ask if he could see Ava. Maybe just for a few minutes, he said. And just like that, I understood the truth. He wasn't here out of guilt. He was here to preserve control, to keep the illusion intact. No, I said, not today. The shock on his face almost broke me. For the first time in my life, he heard me say no, and mean it. Then I closed the door. No slamming, no drama. Just quiet finality. That night, something inside me hardened. Not anger, not spite, but clarity. I stopped answering their calls, deleted their messages, put the picture frame I'd bought them for Christmas, a photo of Ava at the pumpkin patch, in the closet. I didn't realize it then, but as I shut out the noise, I was stepping into the kind of silence that reveals who people really are, and I was about to learn exactly what my family looked like without me playing along. January arrived, soft and gray, the kind of month that makes everything feel suspended in slow motion. Snow piled on the sidewalks, mailboxes leaned under the weight of frost, and the whole world looked frozen in place. It matched the silence between my parents and me perfectly. They didn't call, I didn't call, and for the first time in my life, it felt like I could breathe. At first, the quiet was unfamiliar, like walking into an empty house you used to live in. I kept waiting for my phone to buzz with some accusation, some excuse, some attempt to regain control. Nothing came. Not from my parents, not from my brother, not even from my aunts, who normally live for family gossip. The silence stretched through January into February. Some nights I'd catch myself pacing the hallway while Ava slept, half expecting my father's knock on the door, half dreading it. But all that ever greeted me was the sound of the heater clicking on and off. Peace is strange when you've lived without it for years. It feels like a trick, like something that can be taken away the moment you relax. But slowly I eased into it. I stopped checking the family group chats I wasn't in anymore. I stopped rehearsing arguments in my head. I stopped expecting apologies that would never arrive. And then one afternoon in late February, a message came from my brother. Are you ready to talk? Mom's upset. Dad hasn't been sleeping. They say you overreacted. Please call. I glanced at the screen, felt a familiar spike of adrenaline, then turned the phone face down on the table. No, not again. Not this time. I wasn't going back to being the daughter who apologized for bleeding. For the first time in years, my quiet belonged to me. But that peace came with a cost I hadn't anticipated. And the first person to pay it wasn't me. It was Ava. I noticed it the first week of March. Not in anything she said. Ava was always gentle with her words. But in the little things. She lingered by the mailbox when we checked it. She'd open the flap slowly, hopeful, then close it softly when nothing was addressed to her. My mom used to send glitter cards, hearts drawn in pink pen, stickers that shed sparkles everywhere. Ava used to giggle and stick those cards on the fridge until it looked like a shrine to Grandma. There hadn't been one since October. One afternoon, I walked into the kitchen and found Ava standing in front of the refrigerator, staring at an old Easter photo. In it, she sat on my dad's shoulders, her hair blowing wildly as they both laughed. She touched the edge of the photo lightly, then walked away without a word. Another day, I found her drawings scattered across her bedroom floor. A park, a house, a birthday cake, all missing something. Sometimes a person, sometimes two, sometimes faces. I picked up one drawing of a family, just me and Ava, holding hands. A big sun above us, yellow and bright. The space where her grandparents used to be was just empty sky. My throat tightened. She wasn't asking about them anymore. She wasn't saying she missed them. She was quietly adapting to their absence, and somehow that hurt more than anything they'd done. Then came the night that broke me open. We were driving home from school one April afternoon when Ava saw a billboard with a cartoon beach on it. Blue water, palm trees, kids running in the sand. Her voice was soft, almost unsure. Does Grandma still go on vacations without us? I swallowed. Grandma's been busy, I said gently. She stared out the window for a long time before whispering, I think she forgot us. I didn't know how to answer that. I don't think any mother does. That night, after I tucked her in, Ava handed me a folded piece of construction paper. Happy Mother's Day early, she said. Inside, drawn in marker with uneven hearts and sparkles, she'd written, I hope you don't feel lonely like I do sometimes. The words scraped something inside me raw. I kissed her forehead, thanked her, tucked the card into my nightstand. And for 3 days, I opened that drawer just to read it again. My daughter, 6 years old, was carrying loneliness like a weight in her tiny chest. And I had to face a brutal truth. My silence wasn't just punishing the people who hurt us. It was punishing the child they discarded. A few days later, we were driving home from the grocery store. The world was soft with spring snowmelt, and kids were playing in a sprinkler in someone's yard. Ava stared out the window as the water sparkled in the sun. Then she asked, Do Grandma and Grandpa still live in the same house? Yes, I said quietly. They do. She nodded once, then, softly, I guess they don't want to see me anymore. I pulled the car over without thinking, parked in front of a gas station, turned in my seat and reached for her hand. Ava, I said, none of this is your fault. Not one single part. They love you. They're just not very good at showing it. That's on them, not you. She nodded, but her eyes stayed down. That night, she slipped into my room carrying her favorite stuffed animal. Can I sleep with you? She whispered. She hadn't asked that in months. I didn't hesitate. I lifted the blanket and she crawled in, curling against me like she was trying to fill in missing spaces. Her breathing softened. Mine didn't. I lay awake staring into the dark, realizing something had shifted. I could handle being cut out, but watching Ava grow smaller because of their absence, that I couldn't stomach. Protecting her didn't mean isolating her from every hurt. It meant teaching her that love had boundaries, but it didn't need to be replaced with abandonment. So the next morning, with my heart in my throat, I picked up my phone. My fingers hovered for a long moment before I typed, Ava is available Sunday from 2 to 4 if you want to see her. I'll stay in the car. The reply came back in under 5 minutes, almost frantic. Yes, absolutely. We miss her so much. Thank you. No apology, no accountability, just relief that a door had cracked open. But this one was mine, and I was going to decide how far it stayed open. The first Sunday visit felt like walking into a theater where everyone had already memorized their lines, but didn't know I had read the script. I parked at the curb, engine running, hands steady on the steering wheel, even though my pulse wasn't. Ava practically floated up the walkway toward my parents' house. My mom opened the door before she even knocked, like she'd been hovering behind it, waiting. She knelt down, arms open wide, voice pitched high with syrupy warmth. Oh, sweetheart, we missed you so much. Ava hesitated for half a second, just the smallest pause, before leaning into the hug. Then she disappeared inside with a little wave. I stayed in the car, book in my lap, though I read the same paragraph at least 17 times. 2 hours later, Ava emerged holding a stuffed rabbit and a Ziploc bag full of cookies. My parents stood in the doorway, smiling like they had just adopted a puppy. It was civil, controlled. And I drove home thinking, okay, I can do this. For her. But I didn't miss the details. The over-the-top sweetness, the extra-long hugs, the way my mom's eyes flicked to the car, hoping I'd come inside. This wasn't love, it was strategy. The performance of good grandparents with the hope of winning back their image. And me. And that was only the beginning. Over the next few Sundays, I became the ghost in the car, while Ava became the sun in their little galaxy. My parents showered her with glitter crafts, coloring books, cookies shaped like stars, surprise little toys from discount aisles. Every visit, my mom tried one of her soft hooks. Next time, you should come in. We could have lunch together. You don't have to wait in the car. I always smiled politely and said, Ava will be back next Sunday. I gave them access, not entry. They didn't realize there's a difference. My dad tried too, using nostalgia like a weapon. Remember when we used to decorate the tree together? It'd be nice to do that again this year. I never answered those comments, not because I was tempted, because I wasn't. I was guarding the boundary with surgical precision. Then came the shift, the moment when performance crossed into manipulation. It was early June, the kind of hot afternoon where the air feels thick enough to chew. I waited in the car, windows cracked, watching heat shimmer off the pavement. Ava stepped out of the house holding something. Not a toy this time, not cookies. An envelope. "What's that?" I asked as she climbed into her seat. "Grandma said it's for you," she said. But I peeked. "It's a trip. We're going somewhere fun." Somewhere fun. My stomach sank. I didn't touch the envelope until we got home, until Ava was coloring at the kitchen table and I could open it without her watching my face. Inside was a fully booked Florida beach resort vacation. Flights, hotel, kids' activities, meal vouchers, everything prepaid. For 3 people. My mother, my father, and my 6-year-old daughter, Ava. Not me, not the parent, not the only legal guardian. They had booked flights for my child behind my back. My hands went cold, not shaking, just cold. They wanted to take her hundreds of miles away, out of state, without telling me, without asking, without even pretending I mattered. I didn't say anything to Ava. I didn't say anything to my parents. I waited. I wanted to see how long it would take for them to come clean. 2 days passed. Nothing. Then a text from my mom. "We wanted to surprise Ava with a trip. She deserves something special. Of course you're welcome too." Of course, obviously, naturally. As if they hadn't already decided I wasn't part of the equation. As if my presence was an afterthought, a polite add-on. I waited 2 days before responding, not to think, but to let them sweat. Then I replied, "Of course she'll go. Thank you for doing this for her." The relief in my mom's response was palpable, even through text. "Oh, Rowan, this means everything. We're so happy. Thank you for trusting us. This is the start of something beautiful." Beautiful, sure. I let them think so. For 2 weeks, they built the dream for Ava. Dolphin coloring pages, stories about seashells, talk of a waterfall pool, and a breakfast buffet. Ava started packing imaginary suitcases, walking around with her sunglasses, asking if dolphins really smile. I watched quietly, a little ache forming in my chest every time her face lit up. My parents? They were elated. Every Sunday, they acted more careful, more performative, more polished, like they were being graded. It almost worked. Not on me, on them. They thought they were winning me back. They didn't even realize the game was different now. I sat on Ava's bed while she hugged her stuffed giraffe and talked about airplane snacks. Then I took a breath and told her the truth. "You're not going tomorrow." Her face crumpled quietly. Ava didn't scream. She didn't throw herself on the floor. She just cried, soft, slumped over tears that soaked the giraffe's tiny felt ears. My heart broke a little because I wasn't trying to punish her. I was trying to protect her. I held her until she stopped crying, brushing her hair from her forehead. "Trips aren't surprises," I said gently. "If someone tries to take you somewhere without asking me first, that's not love. That's someone trying to make decisions they aren't allowed to make." She didn't have the vocabulary for manipulation yet, but she understood something in her bones. She nodded slowly, and I saw something settle behind her eyes, a small seed of understanding that boundaries are part of love too. I tucked her in, kissed her cheek, and whispered, "We'll do something fun tomorrow, I promise." The next morning, while my parents stood at an airport gate holding a boarding pass with Ava's name on it, Ava and I were sitting in a cozy diner, eating pancakes shaped like hearts. She laughed at the whipped cream mustache she accidentally made. My phone stayed face down on the table, vibrating relentlessly, ignored relentlessly, and we spent the rest of the morning in quiet, gentle peace. Because that's what real safety feels like. They showed up at my door shortly after noon, but I didn't flinch. I had been expecting them, preparing for them, and this time I wasn't going to fold. My parents were at my door by noon, red-faced, breathless, and vibrating with the desperate energy of people whose plans had just imploded in public. I opened the door only halfway. Ava was upstairs, reading. Thank God. My dad started first. "Where is she? Why wasn't she at the airport?" My mom jumped in immediately, going for the emotional angle. "Rowan, we were heartbroken. We planned everything. We just wanted to do something special for her. She was so excited. How could you do that to her?" The way she said "to her," like I had betrayed Ava, like they hadn't planned to take my child out of state without permission, made something inside me go perfectly, dangerously still. I didn't yell, didn't accuse, didn't give them the emotional spectacle they were fishing for. Instead, I asked them one question. "At what point did you decide you had the right to make decisions for my daughter again?" They froze. My mother's mouth opened and closed like she was searching for a script. My father stared at the ground, jaw tight. He never looked me in the eye when he knew he'd crossed a line. Finally, Mom tried the soft approach. "We just wanted to give her a good memory, something she'd keep forever." I smiled, a cold, razor-thin smile. "You did." She'll remember the moment she learned that love isn't supposed to be a transaction. Dad bristled. Rowan, don't twist this. You're overreacting. This could have been a fresh start for all of us. There it was, the real agenda, the story they were writing in their heads. A Christmas miracle, a beach trip reconciliation, a tidy little redemption arc where their performance of love erased the ugly parts. I'm ending the visits, I said. No more Sundays, no more gifts, no more surprises. We're done. Mom's voice cracked. Rowan, please. I didn't wait for the rest. I just closed the door. Soft, final, true. What I didn't realize was that Ava had been sitting on the stairs the whole time, knees hugged to her chest, listening. That night, while I folded laundry, she walked into my room with her hair tangled from sleep. Mom? Yes, baby? Will I ever see them again? The way she asked it, not with sadness, but with something like resignation, hit harder than every betrayal my parents had ever thrown at me. She only asked once, but her voice hung in my mind for weeks. Her question echoed while I packed lunches, while I brushed her hair, while we watched cartoons together on the couch. Because the truth sat heavy and undeniable. My silence wasn't just protecting her, it was isolating her from something she still believed in. I hated that realization. I hated how right it felt. I didn't want to be the mother who forced her child to choose sides. I didn't want Ava to grow up thinking people disappear forever when they mess up. Boundaries matter, but so do second chances, the kind that are earned, not assumed. So one afternoon, I picked up my phone, typed out the simplest message I could manage. You can see Ava this Saturday. 2 hours, at our place. Don't bring anything. The reply came instantly. We'd love that. Thank you, Rowan. Of course they would. They saw the crack in the door as an invitation. They didn't realize it was just a window. Saturday arrived heavy with expectation. Ava wore the yellow cardigan my mom had given her last Easter, the last gift she'd gotten before everything fell apart. She had also drawn a picture for them, a big sunny sky, 3 stick figures holding hands, a tree taller than the house. She didn't label them, but I knew who they were. They showed up right on time, polite, measured, like they'd practiced. Ava opened the door. My mom bent down slowly as though afraid to startle her. Ava stepped forward after a moment, and the hug they shared was small, but real. They sat in the living room talking about school, rocks Ava collected, books she was reading. My mother listened, like she was soaking up every syllable. My father nodded so often I thought his neck might stiffen. I sat on the edge of the room saying nothing, watching, measuring. 2 hours passed. Exactly. Not a minute more. They stood when I said time was up. No argument, no pleading. Just a quiet, thank you. We'll see you next time. They didn't ask when next time would be. They knew better. Ava settled beside me afterward with a tiny sigh, like something inside her realigned. And that's when I made my decision. They could see her, but only under my terms, only under my roof, only within boundaries they would never control again. I wouldn't punish Ava for what they did, but I wouldn't forget it either. Over the next few weeks, I gave them more rope, a park trip, a short lunch, an hour at the zoo with me standing 5 steps behind. They thought these moments meant progress. They thought kindness was forgiveness. They thought I was softening. They forgot that boundaries, once built, can be made of steel. My mom began dropping hints about Christmas. Wouldn't it be nice to bake cookies together? We're already getting stockings ready. My dad tried his own angle. Ava would love the holiday lights at the zoo. We should all go. I said no, but then the next week I offered a small alternative. They were so grateful, so hopeful, so certain we were returning to normal. They never noticed that I never stepped inside their house, never stayed for more than the minimum, never used the word family. I let them dream, that was all. By November, my mother was practically vibrating with anticipation. Holiday hints slipped into every conversation, subtle as a brick through a window. Then, 1 week before Thanksgiving, I sent her a message. Ava and I will come for Christmas, just us. Her reply came in seconds. Oh, Rowan, thank you. This means everything. This is the start of something beautiful. She cried, apparently. My father texted separately to say, thank you for giving us another chance. They really believed it. Believed they'd earned their way back. Believed I was stepping into the story they'd rewritten, their redemption arc. They didn't realize something important. I didn't believe in their story anymore. I believed in Ava's. Christmas Day. Snow falling in lazy flakes. Ava in the red dress they gave her 2 years ago. The dress they never saw her wear because that was the year they began pulling away. When we walked in, the house was full. cousins, kids, stalking names, laughter. The kind of perfect holiday tableau my parents curated with religious devotion. People looked shocked to see me. I could feel it in the air, the tension, the curiosity, the hope. My mom hugged Ava like she'd returned from war. My dad handed me cider like peace offering disguised as hospitality. I smiled, sat quietly, watched Ava open her gifts, laugh with cousins, play a board game. Then, at exactly the 2-hour mark, I stood up, took her hand. Let's go. My mom blinked, confused. You're leaving, but you're not staying for dinner? No, I said simply, we're not staying. Dad frowned. Rowan, come on, it's Christmas. We're finally all together again. Exactly, I said, and that's enough. No yelling, no apology, no invitation for debate. Ava slipped her hand into mine. We walked out into the snow. The door closed behind us, muffling the chatter and clinking dishes. I never intended to give them a full reunion. I only gave them enough so Ava wouldn't grow up wondering if she missed something extraordinary. I gave them a taste, a moment, a snapshot they'll cling to and replay. But they never get all the way back in. They never will. This isn't their redemption story, it's my boundary story, Ava's clarity story. And as we drove home through the quiet snow, Ava humming softly in the back seat, I knew one thing with absolute certainty. They will always remember this Christmas as the year they got us back. But I will always remember it as the year I finally walked away, with my daughter's hand in mine and the story rewritten for us both.